All right, I just finished watching this horror movie franchise. I use the term franchise loosely because it's not really a franchise per se, but I think it's established enough to be counted as a franchise because there's 5 movies in it, so I guess that counts. In my mind, it does anyway. But I recently rewatched um all 5 of these movies, and I just kind of want to put my thoughts out there on the internet just because I know these movies, especially the first few, have like cult classic status because of just how strange and out there they were, especially at the time. Oh, the first movie was released in 1979, so um, that was a long time ago, way before I was even born. Um, so yeah, I'm going to talk about these movies today. So if you like this kind of video where I talk about movies and random stuff, leave a like, comment down below, subscribe, all that good stuff. And without further ado, let's get into this video and talk about the Phantasm franchise of the 5 movies that are in the franchise. Because I will be going over all 5 movies. I'm going to be doing just kind of cliff notes, giving you the like bare minimum synopsis of each movie and what I think of them. So it's not gonna be a too terrible long video, maybe like 20 minutes or so. So just buckle in and get a drink, popcorn, something, and sit back and relax and just to listen to me talk about these movies. Um, First off, shout outs to my friend um at the flea market for hooking me up with the Blu-ray collection. Um, for a pretty good price. It was a standard collection, not the collector's edition. I do want to get the collector's edition at some point, but I just wanted to get this um, for signature purposes if I ever get to meet any of them, which hopefully soon-ish I will. I'm not sure if we're going to the convention that they're going to be at, but maybe someday, or maybe in a couple of months, I should say, like by October. But that's the main reason why I got it. Plus, it was like only like $18 or something. So it was a really good deal on it, and I wanted to rewatch them anyway because I was like, it's been a while since I've seen these, so I'll pick it up. So shout out to my friend for that, and shout out to my older brother for introducing me to these movies in the first place because I wasn't a big horror fan growing up. I don't like jump scares. I don't like stuff like that because I startle easy. Um, it's mainly due to my CP, but still, that's one of the reasons why I shied away from watching them because I feel like that's like half of the point to watch these movies is to for the jump scares, but it kind of defeats the purpose with me when um my the startling is not that hard to do, so I scare pretty easy, or startle easy, I should say. They don't scare me per se. It's just one of those things that always shied me away from watching them. Is I just didn't like the jump scares because I just don't like jump scares. But whatever, I I got into them eventually, like when I was like 14, 13, 14 years old, maybe. I don't remember when exactly I watched the first one the first time, but I remember liking it. I remember thinking it was like a really weird, creepy concept. Like this tall man, they call him the tall man, and he just goes around reanimating dead people and like shrinking them down to like these little dwarves or troll like people. I don't want to call them. They call them dwarves or like little people in the first movie, but I I don't know if that's like politically correct now to like call them like midgets, like because they called them midgets at one point. I'm like, I don't know if people would like that today, but they one of the characters in the third movie, I think it was, used the term lurkers. I don't know if that was for the little troll people or the other people that helped dig up the graves. I'm not sure, but I'll get into that when I get to the third movie. But whatever. He basically takes dead people and like shrinks them down and then sends them off to his dimension, planet, whatever it is. They never really explain if he's like from another planet or a dimension. I think it's from another dimension, to be honest with you. But and I'll get into why in a second. But basically he's the main villain of the entire franchise. And then you have your titular hero characters. You have Reggie, the ice cream man, and then played by Reggie Bannister, which is funny. His real name is Reggie, and his character name is Reggie, so it's kind of weird. Um, then you have Jody. I don't want to say like his his friend, but like a friend slash like customer of his. I guess they become friends because of him being like a loyal customer of his ice cream. Because like I said, he's an ice cream man. So Jody becomes his friend because of that. And then you have Jody's younger brother Mike, and played by A. Michael Baldwin. No relations to the other Baldwin brothers like Alec Baldwin. They're not related to him, but whatever. I'm sure people know that. But I'm just gonna clear that up just in case you don't. They're not related, as far as I know. Um, and by the way, Jody is played by Bill Thornbury. I think it's pronounced Thornbury. It might be Barry, but I think it's Burry. It's Bury at the end. It might be Burry. I don't know. But so yeah, it deals with them um trying to stop the Tollman from basically pilfering small towns of their graveyards. Like basically, he'll go to a small town, and just grave rob it basically, and just have this army of people that he makes from dead people. He basically reanimates and makes them slaves. They say they're like slaves in the first movie. I don't know if that's what they were like established because they never really bring that up again. But like, I guess they're kind of like that because they don't really go into like what the hell his universe is, but whatever. But basically, the first movie is them trying to stop him because he killed, or I don't know if he killed their parents, but like he took Mike and Jody's parents' body and basically reanimated them. So like, it's that's their motivation of it, and eventually, Jo Jody eventually does wind up dying at the end of the first one. They kind of allude to that he dies, but they don't really like explicitly say it until like the second movie. Um, but basically, the entire movie is them trying to just hunt all these people down um and all these like goblin troll people down, and uh they like build Reggie builds this like special shotgun. It's like a four barrel sawed off shotgun, and it's really cool. Like he like welds it together. This is in the second one though, but he welds it together, and then like it's this freaking like it reminds me of like the Doom double barrel shotgun, but like basically two of those like welded together. It looks so cool, and it just looks badass with this ice cream man just freaking just plowing down like these troll like people with this like quadruple barrel shotgun. Um, but the first movie ends with like Mike getting dragged into a void through his mirror. I see. I don't know. The movies, all the movies end really freaking weird. Like the first three movies end kind of weird. Like that kind of ending where it's like a jump scare. But I've already seen like the first two, so I knew it was coming. The third one got me because I didn't remember when it happened, but I remember when the other two happened, so I was prepared for it. Damn it! But um, so the second one starts out. It kind of gives you a refresher of what happened, and then in the second one, Reggie, his house like blows up, and then like he loses his wife and his daughter or whatever, and then like basically that's the whole motivation behind the second one is them trying to like stop him again. They're all pretty much the same, to be honest with you. There's just more characters introduced and just more lore dumped. And then you don't start getting like more lore dumpage until like the fourth one, really. The third one is kind of the same deal, but it's just Reggie by himself because Mike gets taken for a little bit, and then he gets Mike gets like one of the spherical ball things. They call them balls, but they're like spheres and with spikes on them. That's probably like the most iconic part of the movie, besides Angus Scrimm playing the tall man, as the little spheres. It's because of what they do. They just drill into your skull and then blood squirts out the back of them. I mean, it's a pretty gory movie for for its time, especially in 1979. That's pretty gory, I would think. Like how much blood there is. I know The Exorcist and all that stuff, and I'm pretty sure the first one was kind of like an indie film. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it was pretty low budget, as from what I read online. Like it was technically like an indie film, I think, back in the day, but I'm not too sure if that's the case. But you can kind of tell they with some of the blood and some of the effects and like when somebody gets stabbed or something, you can tell they're like cutting away and trying to save on some effects and stuff like that, the budget and stuff. So I'm not really sure if it was an indie film, but it does give that vibe to it. But Don Coscarelli did a really good job with the first two. The first two are my favorites. Three and four, like I said, the stories are pretty much the same. Four deals with Reggie still trying to like find Mike, and then like, well, you see Mike more than Reggie in this movie because Mike goes off and tries to stop the tall man himself in the fourth movie because he, like I said, he got one of the balls implanted into his head or whatever. So he basically kind of turned into one of the troll-like creatures, but not really, because he had like the yellow blood or like yellow embalming fluid. I don't know what the hell it is. I guess it's the embalming fluid. I don't know what it's supposed to be. The blood, embalming fluid. I don't know what it is. Whatever. Basically, whatever that stuff is, he now bleeds that. He's not like completely human, I don't think, anymore. But basically, the whole that whole movie is Mike trying to stop the tall man in different like dimensions and time periods because eventually he goes through one of the fork portals. I forget what the hell they call them. They almost look like a tuning fork, but they're not. But they're like two little bars standing, and they make like a resonating noise, like boom, 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 boom. And it's when you walk through them, you either get transported to Tall Man's dimension or some other point in time or whatever. And apparently, that's what they did in the fourth movie. Anyway, but what one of the parts is Mike. He goes back in time, and then like he sees the tall man before he was a tall man, and his name is Jebediah Morningside. So that's basically like the tall man in his like human form. Because I don't think the tall man's technically human, but I don't think he's like alien. I think he's more of a undead like Undertaker. I don't want to say he's a zombie, but like he seems undead to me because anytime they kill him in the movies, he always comes back. There's always like another copy of him. Because in the fifth one, they kind of explain that a little bit, but not really. I'll get into that in a little bit. I have a lot to say about the fifth one because the fifth one was kind of rough, but I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, he goes back in time and he tries to like stop him, but his brother Jody is basically a spherical ball that can take human shape. It's very weird. Like that always confused me. Like why Jody can take the form of like his physical body and also like be in the form of the ball. I don't know. They never really explain that, but they do explain that they do put brains inside of the balls to make them like aware, I guess, or something. I forget what one that was in. I think it was in like four. They kind of showed that, but basically it tells them that you can't interact with them when you travel back through a portal because you don't exist in this dimension or whatever. So it's like, then what the hell's the point of him going back to just see him get his start? Like to see him start becoming the tall man. Because what happens is he builds this like crude portal with, because I think it was like, they make it seem like it was back in like the 1800s or early 1900s because they do a flashback of showing him during like the Civil War or something, and he's like doing experiments on like soldiers and shit. So maybe he's been around for like hundreds of years, and like he always experimented on it because he was like a mortician at some point. I I don't know. They never really say like what his job was, but that makes sense to me. But like I said, I don't know. I'm just inferring from what the movie kind of tells you. But basically, it shows him experimenting, and he builds like this elaborate thing. He goes through it, and then like 30 seconds later, he comes out holding one of the balls in his hand like this, and he has like the menacing look on his face, like the tall man does. Because before he was Jebediah, he was like a normal old man asking about like, would you like lemonade, whatever, like a kindly old man. And then he got changed by for whatever reason. I don't know if that altered him or maybe when he walked through, another like parallel version of him walked through. I have no idea. They don't really say. They kind of allude to there being multiple ones in Phantasm 5 Ravager, but they don't really explicitly say like how many versions of the tall man there is out there. They they basically show in the fifth one that there's hundreds, if not thousands of them. So basically there's no way they're gonna stop it, basically. But so the fourth one ends with Mike and Reggie in the desert driving around in the hearse that the tall man drives in. Or is Reggie driving or is he still walking around doing stuff? And Mike is just there. Well, something happens to where the hearse is parked and Mike sets it up to where one of the balls is like attached to the motor and it comes out and like impales him in the back of the head, the tall man's head, and then he rips it out and just like chucks it and throws it away. And then like Mike sets off this bomb he put in the hearse and it blows up the tall man. But he doesn't, of course, he doesn't die. But then he just like, Mike kind of almost is like dying because of like just all the stuff that went on in the movie, I guess, and just being attacked by the tall man and all the other stuff. So like the movie ends with the tall man just leaving Mike for dead, and then leaving back in the little portal thing. Um, and then Reggie saying, "I'll be back," and then he walks through the portal, and then it just ends. And for years and years, that's how the movie ended. That's how the franchise ended. And I know for years there were rumblings about there being like them wanting to do a five, and I don't know how it came to be or what how it finally happened, but eventually Ravager came out, and I believe it was like 2015 or 16, something like that. It was pretty late in the 2010s. I know that. I'm not gonna look it up. I don't remember. It's not really important to when the movie came out. It was. I I want to say it was like somewhat crowdfunded. I think I remember hearing back when it was like supposed to happen. Like originally, the fifth movie was supposed to be like a web series about Reggie, but then like they did like one episode, and then like people liked it, and they wanted to just like turn it into a movie. So they just did that one like preview episode or something, and then like Ravager came to be, which, like I said, this is probably the weakest one out of the five for me because Ravager just seemed like they were trying to do something with it before Angus Scrim passed away because at this time he was getting older. He was probably 88, 89 at that point, maybe. Well, let me see how old he was maybe at that point. Okay, yeah, he was 89 when he died. He died like right before it came out, I believe, because the movie is dedicated to him. So he's probably 88 at the time of filming the movie, or at the time of being like greenlit, I guess. So maybe that's why Don Coscarelli and I think Reggie Bannister and A. Michael Baldwin had a hand in it as well. Maybe that's why they wanted to try to like close it out in a way because they knew he was going to probably not be able to do another movie after that. And plus, on one of the bonus features, like Don Coscarelli was talking to Angus on set, and like he was saying, like Angus himself was saying, like, I think my time is probably coming up soon. So that's why I wanted to do this movie. So Angus wanted to do this movie, but I just feel like they didn't really do the franchise justice with this. Like with this movie here. I wanted to really like this movie because I remember being like pumped about it and like semi satisfied with it when it came out and my brother and I first watched it. Yeah, that's why we watched the first four again. That's when I first watched them when around when that was supposed to be like coming out on because I think it was like direct to like DVD I think or something, or maybe it was like on Amazon or something like that. I don't remember how it was released, but I don't think it had a theater release. I don't remember if it did or not, but I don't think it did. However, it was released. I know we got it on DVD, and I know we watched it. And at the time, I was like, okay, it's fine. But like looking at it now, like when you watch the movies all back to back, like within the span of like 2 days, is what it took me to watch them all. I was I was kind of like, what was the point of this movie? Because the movie's plot is just so weird and disjointed. Like Reggie is basically by himself searching for Mike. Basically the same spiel over and over, but the difference is like he's also time jumping like in the future or present day or whatever. I don't really know what the hell was happening because like he would he would like time jump into being like at a nursing home or a psych ward or whatever with talking to Mike, like actual Mike, and he was all confused, like, "Oh my god, what? Why are you here? What's going on?" And then they're like, "Oh," and Mike's like, "Oh, you have dementia," and like, and I'm like, "This is getting really weird." Like they like make the dementia seem like that's what was causing the entirety of like Phantasm because like Mike was saying, "Oh, all the tall man stuff was all in your head, and none of it's real." And like, I think they were basically saying like all of Phantasm was in Reggie's head, and like I was like, "What are they doing here?" Like, I get what they want, for, like the dream within a dream within like a dream thing, but like the way they did it is just so. I'm just gonna say it's kind of dumb. Like I was like, this is not the way I would have done this movie. And I'm not a writer or a director or whatever. But like, if you're gonna do a movie and like kind of try to wrap it up, because he eventually like confronts the tall man. And it's like the tall man's like, if you leave me alone and let me do what I want, I'll give you your family back. Like I guess he has that power. I don't know if he meant like they're zombified selves or like actually take him back to where like back in time to where before any of the tall man BS happened. I have no idea because he basically says, "F you, I'm not doing it. No deal. I want Mike and Jody. That's all I want." Blah 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 blah. And that's basically what it was. But he just keeps jumping around from like the nursing home stuff to like present day after for him still looking for Mike, and then like eventually like it turns out like he's been in like this facility getting experimented on with like a brain thing. I don't know what I know I'm making this movie sound a lot dumber than it needs to, but this is literally what it's like. Because they show him like tied up, like tied down, and he's got one of the electrode, like I don't want to say helmet things, but like strap things on his head, and he's like, Where am I? Where am I?" And like these people come in with like these gas masks on. They look like the lurker people, um, or the grave robbing people, the taller people. Not I don't know if they call them lurkers. Those people are the dwarves, but whatever. But basically, he thinks it's them, so he starts freaking out. But turns out it's um one person from his dream state that was named Dawn, but I think her name was like what was it? It was her dream name is Dawn, but what the hell was her actual name? I can't remember what it is. It's not really important what it was, but basically he sees her as like he's like Dawn, is that you? She's like no, my name's I think it was like Julia or something weird. It was something with J, I think. I don't remember. But she's like, no, that's not my name. And he's like, yeah, I wrote a song for you. And he like sings the entire song. She's like, what are you talking about? Then there's this like little person guy. I forget. I think they named him Chunk or like Chunky or something, something weird. And then like they run into he runs into Mike. Mike's there in the futuristic hell that Tall Man created because it's basically hell on Earth, I guess. And like, I don't know, man. It just I don't want to keep harping on this movie too long because the plot of it is just so dumb and disjointed. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, I don't mind the time jumping stuff. I don't mind that, but the way they did it and like how confusing it was. Like, is this a dream? Is this real? Because while he was woken up by Mike and all of them, he was still like having episodes of like flashing back and whatever. And there's one part where he die. He's like on his deathbed. He dies, and then like it flashes back to them in the car with Mike and Jody, and like Jody's actually alive. He was never dead. It's just really freaking weird. And I'm like, so was he dead? Was he not dead? Was the first four movies all bullshit? Like what? And then they randomly throw one of the characters from Phantasm 3 in there, Rocky, and it's like I think she's from 3 or was she in 4? No, she was 3. I'm pretty sure she was in 3. But yeah, like I didn't mention Rick. She's not really an important part to the third movie. She's just there, just like all the other protagonists, and like the kid Tim, like he's just doing the same stuff with them. He's a kid. He shoots guns, whatever. He kills some of the people, and some of the dwarves and whatever. Like that's why I didn't mention them because they're all the same. They all have the same goal in mind: stopping the tall man. That's why I didn't mention them because it didn't matter. Rocky really doesn't matter. The only funny thing with Rocky is that, like, of course, Reggie has the hots for like every woman he runs into. And there's one part. If you're watching this video with kids, please pause it and shoo them away because. But this part did make me laugh pretty hard because it does deal with sexual content, but it was funny. But he's having like a sex dream, and then Jody's there, and he's like, "Yeah, hey, hi, Reg," and then Reggie's like, "Hey, I'm kind of busy here, Jody. Can you come back in like 5 minutes?" I was like, "That's kind of funny." I'm not gonna lie, I laughed pretty hard at that because he's like sitting there doing his thing while talking to Jody, and he like gets interrupted. He just gets zapped out of the dream he's having into the like this random like lake area or desert area or whatever it is. And I was like, wow, way to be a buzzkill. Like way to like cock block him, but I don't know. I just thought that was funny. And yeah, I think that was the third movie. I'm pretty sure. Um, Maybe that was 4. I don't know. They all kind of the problem with Phantasm I have is they all kind of bleed together. Honestly, especially the first two movies. Like, there's a lot of stuff in there that I always got confused between. Like, was that in the first movie or second movie? Even watching them all back to back to back, that's not really a good thing to do because they all really do bleed together because it's all pretty much the same deal. But in any case, I if I had to rank like the entire franchise from like best to worst, I would say the first two are the best. Then the next two after that are like like C tier, maybe B tier, maybe I guess kind of B tier, but I say borderline C tier with 4 because it ends open ended. So, and for years that's all we ever got. So like, kind of stupid that they ended the fourth one open ended because it took them like 20 years to get back to it or whatever it was. And then Ravager was just, man, like I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. I just kind of liked it. It was it was a thing. It happened. I'm glad they were able to do it before Angus Scrimm died. But like I said, I feel like the last film of this franchise kind of pooped the bed a little bit because there was so much potential that they could have done with the tall man character. Hell, I'm not even kidding. I'm on Mortal Kombat Armageddon. I on PS2. I made a create a character of the tall man. That's how much back when I watched those movies the first time, how much I liked the first four movies. Because I was like, you know what, I want to make a character of him. So that's what I did. And I did all right with what they give you, but that proves how much of a fan I was. If I wish I could get a picture of it and show it to you guys, but I have to like get my brother's memory card and then like get a snapshot of it, and it would be a pain in the ass. Trust me, it was pretty good. My brother can vouch for it in the comments because I know he's probably gonna watch this video. But it was a pretty good representation of what the tall man was. I made him as tall as he could be. I had him wear the same kind of suit and tie, whatever. Um, I forget what his moveset was, but yeah, that proves that I actually liked um, his character a lot. And I I really wish I would have went to. There was one convention when I first started going to conventions that he was actually at. Um, and there was the last convention that I think he ever did, it turned out. And I kind of regret not doing that one instead of doing the one I did because I would have loved to have met Angus Scrimm because I've heard he was a super nice guy and like loved interacting with his fans and stuff like that. So I'm kind of pissed at myself that I didn't like go to. I think it was in Chicago. But I would have drove up there. That's nothing. We've driven farther than that for conventions. Um, but I will have the opportunity to meet Reggie Master and A. Michael Baldwin at Scarefest in, I believe it's in Louisville in October. I I really do want to do it, but if we can't afford to, then like whatever. But my wife says she's gonna start putting money aside for it, so I'm gonna keep reminding her about it because I really would love to meet Reggie Bannister and A. Michael Baldwin because I really did love the first few movies. I would say, well, I would say I loved the first four. The first four were good for what they were. The fifth one, if they asked me to be honest about the fifth one, I'm gonna be honest with them and be like, the story was kind of all over the place. It was kind of hard to follow, to be honest. But I still enjoyed it. It's still a fun enjoyment of a movie. If you like the franchise or the other four, you'll probably like the fifth one. But anyway, guys, I know this is weird, and I know I don't want to do like videos where I talk about movies and stuff like that, but I really had a fun time sitting down and watching Phantasm again and the Phantasm franchise or film collection. So yeah, and I really enjoyed it. So let me know what you guys think about this franchise and this video in general. Do you guys like Phantasm? Have you guys ever heard of it? What's your favorite one? What's your favorite part in the movies? Just let me know what your thoughts on these movies in general are. And hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Shout out to my Patreon supporters for supporting the channel. Okay, sorry, I got an email that distracted me, but shout out to go to Matt Y99, Reaper7734, Tyler Cow, AJ Cotto, Oliver Frederick, Zola Adfi, It's Me, Charles, Joe, William Swift, Griff17, Charlie McKeon, Reverse Security, Zoo Hall, Pretty Liam, Just Drew, Arnie Munstein, HHG Fan, George McConnell, Elliot Scott, Benjamin Tellen, Magalo Soro, Vic Gomez, Freddie Land, Lee Fernay, and TJ Johnson. Thank you guys for supporting me, and thank you guys all who support me, whether it be like my videos, subscribe, whether or not you watch them or not. Thank you for supporting me however you do. It really means a lot to me. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this long ass video. Sorry it was so long, but I know a lot to say, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Peace.